Voters in Oklahoma and Missouri decide on a number of school, city, and county elections.
Dr. Fauci says vaccine supply is improving by the day as the White House sets a new target for when all adults should be eligible. I'm Natalie Brand with what he told CBS News about the rise in new COVID cases.
And why stylists think the quarantine trendy nap dress is here to stay, even after the pandemic ends.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
School bond issues pass in both Carl Junction and Nevada, Missouri. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, 4 state election results. Taxes, school issues, and municipal races brought voters to the polls yesterday in some Missouri and Oklahoma communities. We're going to start in Nevada, Missouri, where a couple of school issues were on the ballot. Both received more than the 4/7 majority needed to pass. A $13.75 million proposal will increase property taxes to fund school repairs throughout the district. It passed by a more than 2-to-1 margin. Also in the Nevada School District, voters overwhelmingly approved a $12.25 million plan for a new elementary school. Another $10 million will be provided by a donation from Lee and Maxine Weber. A Carl Junction school issue also required 4/7 approval by a 3-to-1 margin. Voters approved a $7 million plan for safety improvements and building repairs for things like roofs, windows, and HVAC improvements. Also on the ballot in Carl Junction, a proposal to impose a use tax on some out-of-state purchases equal to the current local sales tax. It would have applied when annual purchases exceed $2,000. But more than 60% of voters said no to that idea. Voters in Neosho, Missouri narrowly rejected a similar use tax proposal. The vote was 468 no to 438 yes. For complete election results, head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Arkansas becomes the first state to ban gender-confirming treatments and surgery for transgender youth. Yesterday, the Republican-controlled House and Senate overrode Governor Asa Hutchinson's veto of the measure. The law prohibits doctors from providing gender-confirming hormone treatment, puberty blockers, or surgery to anyone under the age of 18 years old. Opponents promised a lawsuit to block the ban before it takes effect this summer. Jasper County Sheriff is leading the search for 3 missing teenage girls. 14-year-old Alexis Crawford of Phelps County, 16-year-old Morgan Holderman of Clay County, and 14-year-old Jasmine Marie Holliday of Putnam County. The girls had run away from an undisclosed location in Jasper County and are still believed to be together. Anyone with information should call 911 or the Jasper County Sheriff's Office. Well, the wind just keeps on blowing.
Yeah.
It even blew heavy rains through parts of the 4 states. Michael Hayslip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Tanya, we've been pretty fortunate. You know, we still do have some thunderstorm activity, but for the most part, we're able to escape any early morning severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's go ahead and jump to the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and what I'm going to do here is take off the cloud cover to give you a better look at exactly where the heaviest rain is as it makes its way through the central portion of southwest Missouri. As we put on the lightning tracker in the past 15 minutes alone, that is the band that we're mostly concerned about as it makes its way toward the east. So coming off of just getting through Joplin, going to be headed toward Carthage, right through Neosho, and Monette, Mount Vernon, and Greenfield will be next up in line. On the backside of that, we are talking about cooler temperatures. As a matter of fact, I'm going to revert here because this is what we call live television on the fly. Guess what we have? We just popped up a severe thunderstorm watch for portions of southwest Missouri. So what we'll do is we'll reload the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We'll take everything off here. We'll put in our watch boxes and our warning fills, and there you have it. The orange indicating the severe thunderstorm watch. Not a warning, but it is a watch, and it lasts all the way until 7 o'clock tonight, showing you this is somewhat of an elongated affair, as we'll have to deal with this activity that has included hail. No storm reports in our highlighted counties, but it has included hail in the Springfield area. Closest it got to us was Stone County, Missouri. Temperatures going to ride in the low 60s coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya. Obviously, we're going to update the severe thunderstorm watches and also take a look at the what we like to call the old severe thunderstorm risk map.
Right. Well, Can't complain about it too much.
Well,
but
not too bad. If we're going to pop one up, let's do it right at the beginning of the news, and that way we're not missing anything.
there we go.
Yeah.
Be prepared. All right, thanks, Michael. President Biden is calling on all states to make all adults eligible for COVID-19 vaccines by April 19th, if they haven't done so already. But even as daily vaccination rates have soared in recent months, new daily cases have started to tick up. Federal health officials say the nation is still at risk of another surge. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
In less than 2 weeks, President Biden wants all states to make all adults eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine if they haven't already done so. And while getting a vaccine appointment is still a concern in some places, federal health officials stress that is changing.
There was a gap between supply and demand, and literally every day that goes by, if that gap is closing.
The updated vaccine timeline comes as many states have lifted COVID restrictions and daily new cases have started to climb.
This fight isn't over.
In Michigan, which leads the nation in new cases, Governor Gretchen Whitmer got her shot Tuesday. The CDC found the B.1.1.7 variant that originated in the UK accounted for nearly 40% of Michigan's cases last month.
The B.1.1.7 variant is now the most common lineage circulating in the United States.
The Biden administration says it does not plan to mandate a vaccine passport system, but federal health officials say they expect businesses and universities to take action on their own.
They're going to say, we're not going to have you come in unless you get vaccinated. You're not going to see that from a federal government mandate.
At least 8 colleges have already said they'll require vaccinations for students returning to campus this fall. In K through 12 schools, the CDC estimates nearly 80% of teachers and school staff have received at least one dose of the vaccine. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, the CDC says it's hearing reports of clusters of cases across the country associated with daycare centers and youth sports. Hospitals are seeing an increase in younger adults, those in their 30s and 40s admitted with severe disease. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, a quarantine clothing trend.
There's casual clothing, and there's this. I'm Kate Smith with how the nap dress became the fashion statement of the pandemic.
And later, we're making pierogi lasagna in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. The pandemic changed many things, including the clothes we wear. Kate Smith looks at how one dress capitalized on the trend of dressing down.
First of all, before I speak about the nap dress, you have to understand that I am a dress girl. I do not like pants.
So dresses were on Nell Diamond's mind when she started her fashion and lifestyle brand Hill House Home.
I really wanted to create a product that was a dress that could kind of carry me from making my toddler breakfast in the morning to an important meeting to drinks with my husband after work.
In 2019, the nap dress was born with some success. But then the pandemic hit. Lockdowns and working from home turned the house dress meets nightgown into an internet sensation.
This is my nap dress collection. As you can see behind me, I've got 6.
I'm in my powder blue Nestle, which is absolutely gorgeous.
I don't love them. I am totally obsessed with them.
Vogue magazine even named it one of the 17 items that define 2020.
The nap dress definitely exceeded all of our expectations and all of our projections.
What makes a nap dress unique?
The real beauty and importance of distinction of the nap dress, I should say, is that it's both beautiful and practical at the same time.
The success of the nap dress comes as demand for comfortable clothing surges.
Last year, sales of sweatpants, sleepwear, and slippers jumped, with millions of people stuck at home.
Comfort was something that was on the forefront.
Stylist Trey Ingram says many of his clients' tastes changed during the pandemic.
Hey, I want comfortable shoes, or I want comfortable sweats, I want comfortable tops. Like, it did not matter what it was, they just want something comfortable.
Ingram believes people are ready to dress up again as life inches back to normal. But Diamond thinks the nap dress has staying power.
People now get to show off their nap dresses in real life. Just wait till you see this in person, wait till you see it with shoes.
And that's why she has even more collections planned this spring. Kate Smith, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on the...
We also do a morning show.
So yeah.
If we're going to dress down, I mean...
I guess we got our robes.
So we're good?
Yeah. Well, still to come on the KOAM News at noon. This is our version of the nap dress. Mr. Food Snacks.
You combine these with this. The result will probably surprise you in a very pleasant way. So grab a fork, because you're not going to want to miss this.
Good Wednesday afternoon. We've got some recent developments here with our thunderstorm activity that transpired this morning, going to take us all the way through the evening hours. This line right here through the central portion of southwest Missouri, this is the one that we're eyeballing. Now we're going to see a little backfill generate as well. Good lightning in between Joplin and Carthage, just south of I-44 into Neosho, and then making its way up I-49 toward Nevada as well. What that means is it's not going to actually dissipate too much as it moves to the east. That's why we've got a severe thunderstorm watch for our far eastern counties of southwest Missouri until 7 p.m. And then as it continues through central Missouri and rolls towards St. Louis, those will last all through the night as well. And it's been impressive. Now, these storm reports that we see are actually from earlier this morning. We had hail dropped as much as 7/10 of an inch in diameter in Stone County. And up in Coffee County, the flood advisory for Coffee County has expired. But up in Coffee County, in the far northwestern section of southeast Kansas, for our highlighted counties, about 1.5 inches of rain so far. That's going to continue to add to it. This was the one that really provided us the most rain for the morning. And yes, I know that even if you don't see any of the precipitation showing up in your counties, doesn't mean that you didn't have some raindrops. Just trace amounts is what it amounts to. But once again, it's especially up to the north where we got our heavier rain that we're going to have to keep our eyes on possible flood advisories by the end of today. I tell you what, the trough of the jet stream right here and the cold front in back of it, it has not messed around. This thing's got legs and it is moving fast. Our temperatures just whoosh, straight down. We were up as high as 70 degrees earlier this morning, and I'm talking about after midnight pre-sunrise. We had 70s on the board. Now, we've fallen down to 53 in Chanute. That was one of the ones that I mentioned earlier that was at 70, a 17-degree drop as this front progresses. So Joplin now down to 59. If you're in Monette, Cassville, anywhere out there on the eastern edge of southwest Missouri, expect your temperatures to quickly fall. It's not one of those things where it's going to be a gradual decrease. It'll go down about 10, 15 degrees in the span of 1 hour. And that's because these winds just continue to shift as the low pressure system moves through, eventually coming in from the north. But then it almost wants to shift back up. And so that's why the cold front's really not going to stick around too much. Now, what we'll do with the thunderstorm activity as this progresses through, and that's our 7 p.m. time frame, that's when those severe thunderstorm watches expire for us. We do get the counterclockwise movement, not looking at anything severe, more so April showers into early Thursday morning. We'll be out of the threat of the high winds and the hail after that, but still, I would plan on taking the umbrella for Thursday. And it's going to be a cool one, comparatively speaking, not far off track from where we'd normally be this time of year. But, you know, coming off of back-to-back days in the 70s, tomorrow, high around 67. But Friday is going to be delightful, all the way back up into the 70s with mostly sunny skies. Friday evening, more showers, not looking at anything severe once again. And then Saturday, look, great start to the weekend. We're going partly sunny, high in the mid-60s.
All right.
Yeah, all things said, Tanya, you know, compared to you know, what we're looking at with this low pressure system, it's going to gain strength as it moves to the east and the southeast of us. We're getting out pretty good today.
That's good.
Yeah.
Better. I'm glad that we're safe. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Lance Corporal Derek Umbarger in the U.S. Marines. The Thayer, Kansas native joined the 1st Battalion, 25th Marine Weapons Company in 2006. He served a tour in Iraq. To Lance Corporal Derek Umbarger, we thank you, our four-state hero. We're combining the best of two worlds today. Howard shows us how seasoned mashed potatoes fit perfectly into his pierogi lasagna in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, one of the things we love to do here in the Test Kitchen is to combine the best part of two recipes. To help you get a better appreciation of what I'm talking about, today we're combining everything we love about homemade potato stuffed pierogies with a classic Italian favorite, lasagna. Here's how. We start by cooking some lasagna noodles according to the package directions and draining them really well. Then, in some butter, we saute some onions that we seasoned with a bit of salt until they're golden. Now we add most of the cooked onions to some mashed potatoes along with some shredded cheddar cheese and a bit of black pepper. To build this, we layer our mashed potato filling with the noodles just as if we were building a traditional lasagna. After all the noodles and potatoes are gone, we top it with the rest of our golden onions. Once this is baked, it's ready to cut into squares and enjoy. And yes, it tastes just like an old world pierogi, but is so much easier to make. I hope you'll go online to get the recipe for what we call pierogi lasagna. It's packed with all sorts of cheesy goodness. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a two-in-one way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
This is a recipe I've been meaning to try. You can find it along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
We're only saying you're doing fine, Oklahoma. OKLAHOMA is where our thunderstorm activity originates from and then pushes through southwest Missouri with lightning and severe thunderstorm watches all the way until 7 o'clock. Temperatures going to be remaining constant in the low 60s. We'll finally clear off here about 7, 8 o'clock tonight.
The real reason why we were talking about that?
Because I was singing Oklahoma during the commercial break.
Very well.
Because if you're in the cast of Oklahoma, you might be caught wearing a nap dress.
I always wanted to be choir girl number 3.
What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
That role was taken. Slip. Coming up at 5, new research shows people diagnosed with COVID-19 are at a greater risk of developing psychological and neurological conditions such as anxiety, depression, psychosis, stroke. We're going to look at the findings in Health Watch. Plus, a 4-state doctor talks about what you can do ahead of your second COVID vaccine and after it to help with symptoms. And voters in Carl Junction once again failed to pass a use tax. Hope you join us at 5.
All right. Thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.